So let's talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene and the other insurrectionists among us, and then let's take on who is in the best position to do something about them. Because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So, given what happened on January 6th, it's pretty clear. We have insurrectionists in our midst. We have insurrectionists in our government. We have insurrectionists in the halls of Congress. And there are laws saying that if you participated in an insurrection or gave aid and comfort to those who did, you can't serve in Congress. So the fundamental question is, who's in the best position to enforce that disqualification on behalf of we the people? Well, we know that the Department of Justice has not yet chosen to take a run at enforcing those laws, at least not yet, not publicly, not in indictments. So ordinary citizens are stepping into the breach. A nonprofit group called Free Speech for People filed a legal challenge against Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. They also filed a challenge against Madison Cawthorn and others. They're trying to enforce that disqualification. They're trying to stop insurrectionists from being permitted to serve in Congress. And we all saw the results of one such challenge. On Friday, we saw Marjorie Taylor Greene lie her way through testimony, right? Inspiring headlines like this from Rolling Stone. I don't remember. Marjorie Taylor Greene comes down with case of January 6th amnesia while under oath. This from Newsweek. Marjorie Taylor Greene trolled for perjury, says she can't remember. This from Vanity Fair. Marjorie Taylor Greene apparently can't recall anything that happened in the last 3 years. Now, of course she was lying, right? All of these, I don't know, I can't recall, I don't remember. It's just a bunch of perjurious nonsense. Could she be charged with perjury? She could be. It would be a challenge. It would be an uphill climb. It would take a lot of work, lots of discovery. But yes, we could get her emails and her text messages and her DMs and her posts and her voicemails and interview her friends and associates and colleagues and prove she was lying through her teeth over and over and over again. Of course she could remember all these things. Interestingly, she remembered everything she said and did that didn't incriminate her, but everything that did, I don't recall, I can't remember. I can't seem to place that. Perjurious nonsense. Will a perjury case be brought? Probably not. Will she be disqualified pursuant to this civil suit that was heard by an administrative law judge? Probably not, because the judge now gets to make a recommendation on whether she should be disqualified or not. And he sends that recommendation to Brad Raffensperger, who has the ultimate authority to make the decision. So she's not likely going to be disqualified. But ordinary citizens, like the nonprofit organization Free Speech for People, have stepped into the breach. And they're trying to uphold the laws and the Constitution. And I think they deserve our gratitude. I will put a link to the website for Free Speech for People in the description of this video in case you want to learn more about that organization or support their efforts. But this got me to thinking, who should be trying to disqualify insurrectionists from serving in Congress? Private citizens, nonprofit organizations, or the Department of Justice? Because it's not just the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution that says insurrectionists can't serve in Congress. it's also the laws in this big, ugly blue book, the federal code, that say so too. But let's start with the language of the 14th Amendment. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or hold any office under the United States who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress to support the Constitution, shall have engaged in an insurrection or rebellion against the United States or given aid and comfort to the enemies thereof, in other words, to the insurrectionists. But there are also federal laws that are supposed to be enforced by the Department of Justice. For example, treason. If you engage in treason, quote, you shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. How about rebellion or insurrection? Well, if you participate in a rebellion or an insurrection or give aid and comfort to those who do, quote, you shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. And what do we know based on some new reporting? What do we know about what members of Congress were up to, some of them, on and around January 6th? Well, here's some new reporting from Politico. Headline: GOP lawmakers were deeply involved in Trump plans to overturn election, new evidence suggests. And that article begins, Republican members of Congress were heavily involved in calls and meetings with former President Donald Trump and his top aides as they devised a strategy to overturn the election in December 2020, according to new evidence filed in federal court late Friday. Deposition excerpts filed by the January 6 Select Committee, part of an effort to force former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows to appear for an interview, suggest that some of Trump's top allies in Congress were frequently present in meetings where a handful of strategies to prevent then-President-elect Joe Biden from taking office were discussed, including efforts to replace the leadership of the Justice Department with figures who would sow doubts about the legitimacy of the election. Who were some of these lawmakers? Well, friends, this is going to shock you. Representatives Scott Perry, Louis Gohmert, Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, the insurrection caucus. The new evidence underscores the expansive cast of elected Republicans who had ultimately enlisted themselves in Trump's last-ditch effort to cling to power. So here's the thing, friends. We know that prosecutions can't be politically motivated, right? The way they were during the Donald Trump Bill Barr years. And we also know that criminal investigations aren't supposed to be tied to or governed by election cycles. But prosecutions for crimes like insurrection and rebellion and treason have political implications. Why? Because the express lawful sentence for those crimes include prohibiting somebody from serving in Congress. So given that right now there are insurrectionists serving in Congress, and there are insurrectionists planning to run for re-election, it kind of feels like time is of the essence. The Department of Justice should not subject we the people to being represented in Congress by insurrectionists. That's not me advocating for political prosecutions. It's me advocating for timely prosecutions based on the evidence, based on the facts, based on the law. And in the event of conviction, it will have the fringe benefit of expelling insurrectionists from Congress. That's just good government. That's just important law enforcement. That's just justice. Justice can be exhausting and energizing. And it matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.